Relationships are incredibly valuable and meaningful parts of our lives, but they can also be extremely challenging. No relationship is perfect, and communication breakdowns often lead to emotional turmoil. One of the most painful experiences you can go through is when someone you care about, whether a romantic partner, friend, or family member, starts to ignore you. Being ignored can feel like being invisible, unimportant, or undervalued. It's a deeply unsettling feeling, and it can cause a wide range of emotions, including confusion, hurt, frustration, and even insecurity. The worst part is that you may not even know why it's happening. In such situations, it's essential to pause, reflect, and be mindful of how you respond. Reacting impulsively is one of the biggest mistakes people make when they realize they're being ignored. One of the first reactions many people have when they're ignored is to overreact. You may feel an urgent need to restore communication, to get a response, or to fix things right away. It's natural to want clarity or an explanation, but the approach you take can determine how the situation will unfold. In many cases, the instinct is to bombard the person with messages or calls, hoping that persistence will force them to respond. It's easy to get caught up in the moment and act out of desperation. You might even show up at their home or workplace, thinking that by doing so, you'll either demand an answer or force them to confront the issue. However, this tactic usually does more harm than good. When you constantly call or message someone, it puts immense pressure on them. It makes them feel overwhelmed, and they may begin to see you as overly needy or desperate. This can create a defensive reaction, making them even more determined to avoid engaging. Instead of inviting resolution, overreacting can escalate the problem and create a deeper emotional divide. It's important to take a step back and give the other person the space they may need. When someone ignores you, it may not necessarily be because of something you did wrong. It could be that they're going through personal challenges, feeling emotionally drained, or need some time alone to process their own thoughts. Giving them the space to reflect or deal with their own issues without feeling pressured is a sign of maturity and emotional intelligence. Instead of overwhelming them with your own need for closure, show that you can respect their boundaries. This doesn't mean giving up on the relationship or accepting mistreatment. It simply means respecting their process and demonstrating patience. The second mistake that many people make when they are ignored is playing emotional games or attempting to manipulate the situation. For example, some people, when ignored, will try to make the other person jealous. They might post pictures on social media of themselves with other people, flirt with others in an attempt to provoke a reaction, or even mention how much they're suffering because of the lack of attention. These tactics are often used as a way to regain control of the situation or to make the person who is ignoring them realize how much they care. However, playing games only makes matters worse. While it might seem like an easy shortcut to get attention, it ultimately damages the relationship. Games undermine trust, and once trust is broken, it can be incredibly difficult to rebuild. It might even make the person who's ignoring you feel like they can't trust you, or that they are being manipulated for your benefit. Rather than trying to control the situation, focus on honesty and clear communication. If you care about someone and want to get back on track, the best approach is always to talk openly and directly about what's bothering you. Vulnerability and transparency are much more effective in building a deeper connection than playing games or manipulating emotions. Another critical mistake people make when someone is ignoring them is avoiding the issue altogether. Some people, when they're being ignored, choose to simply pretend that everything is fine. They don't want to confront the issue because they fear it will make things worse, or because they don't want to face the uncomfortable reality that something may be wrong in the relationship. By avoiding the issue, you're avoiding the opportunity to address the problem, to understand what happened, and to work together to find a solution. Pretending that everything is okay, when deep down you know it's not, can only prolong the tension. It creates a false sense of peace, which is actually more destructive than confronting the issue head-on. Over time, avoiding difficult conversations can lead to a buildup of unresolved feelings, resentment, and emotional distance. Ignoring issues creates an emotional disconnect, and before long, it may seem like the two of you are simply going through the motions without truly engaging in the relationship. In the long run, this only creates more pain. It's important to be courageous and address the problem directly, even if it's uncomfortable. This doesn't mean confronting the person in an aggressive or accusatory way. It means being honest about your feelings. Instead of hiding behind passive behavior, approach the conversation with a calm, open mind. Let the other person know how you feel and invite them to share their own feelings as well. Conversations that are rooted in empathy and understanding can help you move beyond the situation and rebuild your connection. Ignoring the issue only keeps you stuck in a cycle of frustration and emotional distance. An even bigger challenge comes when emotional reactions take over. The feeling of being ignored can trigger intense emotions: hurt, frustration, anger, and even self-doubt. It's only natural to feel rejected, especially when someone you care about is shutting you out. However, reacting impulsively based on these emotions can lead to more harm than good. Anger, resentment, and defensiveness are common emotional responses, but they rarely lead to positive outcomes. When you react emotionally to being ignored, it's easy to say things you don't mean, make accusations, or blame the other person for how you're feeling. These emotional reactions, though valid, tend to escalate the conflict rather than resolving it. The other person may begin to feel like they're under attack, and instead of opening up, they may close themselves off even further. It can also make it more difficult for them to see things from your perspective. The key to navigating this situation is emotional self-regulation. It's important to be aware of your emotions and not let them control your behavior. When you feel hurt or angry, take a step back and give yourself time to process your emotions. When you're able to approach the situation calmly, you'll be able to express yourself in a way that invites understanding rather than defensiveness. This approach requires emotional maturity, which can take time to develop, but it's essential for building healthy, long-lasting relationships. Another significant aspect of dealing with being ignored is to stop focusing solely on your own needs and emotions. It's easy to get caught up in your own feelings of hurt and rejection when you're being ignored. However, it's essential to remember that relationships are built on mutual respect, and both people in the relationship have needs and emotions. The person who is ignoring you may be dealing with their own challenges that are unrelated to you. They could be overwhelmed with work, dealing with family issues, or experiencing emotional struggles that they don't feel comfortable sharing. Being empathetic in such situations can help you better understand their behavior. Instead of assuming that they're ignoring you because of something you did, try to put yourself in their shoes. This doesn't mean excusing bad behavior or accepting neglect, but it does help you approach the situation with compassion. Understanding the other person's perspective can lead to a more productive conversation and a more profound understanding of each other's feelings. Empathy can bridge the gap between two people, helping them communicate openly and resolve their differences. It's also important to acknowledge that relationships require ongoing effort from both sides. When you're being ignored, it's easy to feel like you're the only one trying, and you might start to wonder whether the relationship is worth saving. However, it's essential to approach the situation with a mindset of partnership. Relationships are built on mutual effort, and both people must be willing to work through the ups and downs. If one person is withdrawing, it's important to have an open conversation to determine what's happening and whether the relationship can be repaired. The role of emotional maturity is crucial in situations where communication breaks down. Being emotionally mature means not allowing your own feelings of insecurity or fear to dictate how you react. It means being patient, understanding, and willing to communicate when necessary, without letting emotions cloud your judgment. Emotional maturity enables you to navigate even the most difficult situations with grace and confidence, and it's a key component of any strong, healthy relationship. Relationships are never perfect, but they can thrive with respect, understanding, and open communication. If you find yourself in a situation where someone is ignoring you, it's crucial to take a step back, reflect on the situation, and resist the temptation to overreact. Instead, practice emotional self-regulation, communicate openly, and be empathetic to the other person's needs. By approaching the situation with patience, understanding, and emotional maturity, you can overcome challenges and strengthen the relationship, rather than letting it deteriorate. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon for more videos on philosophy and self-improvement. And hey, share this video with someone who might need a little calm in their chaos. Until next time, stay strong and stay stoic.